Hey guys, welcome back to Mark's Outdoor Adventures. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch my videos. Today we're going to talk about the pre-spawn, going into the spawn, and the water temperatures. The water temperatures right now, like on Beaver and Table Rock and Bull Shoals, 10 Killers, all right around 50 degrees. They get a little warmer in the stained water and a little warmer in the end of the day in the stained water. Norfolk is right at 50, 52 degrees. Down in the main lake, but up in the rivers where the stained water is, they're getting 61 degree water up in there already. And so they're hammering them up there in that stained water. But at the 50 degree mark, a lot of people doesn't think about throwing any kind of top waters when it's 50 degrees. But I can tell you, you can throw you this is a great color bait for dingy water. I can tell you right now. Top water, when it gets 50 degrees, you can do the walk the dog style like that right there, like a Zara spook, and work it real slow. Or one of my favorites for right now is a buzz bait. Just reel that buzz bait just fast enough to keep that blade on top of the water. Plop, 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 plop. Just real slow. You won't get a whole lot of bites in a day, but the bites you get will be the right bites on that buzz bait. Just working it real slow. Work it real slow, just where you keep the bait right there on top. That blade right there on top, just barely popping on the top. Another bait that you're going to start using this time of year is a square bill. A little square bill. Throw it around cover, rocks, riprap and rocks and wood cover, and it's a really good bait to throw out there, and don't just reel it straight in. Give it some action. Stop and go, or just give it a little twitch every once in a while with your rod tip. That'll help create some reaction strikes. I thought I had another square bill. Yeah, I had another square bill here. I like using different sizes of square bills. See what the fish like. Most time, this time of year, they like big crankbaits. Ouch, my hook's sharp. But here's another square bill. It's a really good color, especially in dirty water. I like throwing my square bills in a little bit dirtier water instead of ultra clear water. Seems like I get more bites and bigger bites as well. I throw my top waters on monofilament, because monofilament line does not sink like the fluorocarbon does. Buzz bait, it doesn't matter if you use fluorocarbon or monofilament. But I use most of the time anywhere from 12 to 16 pound monofilament or fluorocarbon on my top waters, because I'm always fishing around some heavier cover, throwing top waters. Sometimes I'm throwing the walking baits and that kind of thing in open water, fan casting over points or around standing timber or that kind of thing. Fishing on medium to medium heavy 7 foot, 7'3", something like that rod. The thing that'll help you keep slow, your buzz bait going slow and your walking bait going slow, is if you use a slower gear ratio reel, like a 6.3 to 1 or 6.2 to 1 gear ratio reel. So you're not using like a 7 or 8 to 1 reel that's really cooking it across the top before you realize what's going on. Excuse me. The square bills I'll throw on, depends what kind of cover I'm in. If I'm just throwing around some rocks, 8 or 10 pound test, fluorocarbon. If I'm throwing around heavier cover like logs and standing timber, I'll throw anywhere from 10 to 14 pound test on my square bills. And you work that square bill through the brush just like you would a jig or chatterbait or any of that kind of thing. Just work that square bill through any of those places and that'll get you some bites.
Black Hyundai Tucson, Arkansas, Adam David Sam, 26 Henry.
The reel, still a 6 to 1 gear ratio, trying to keep things slowed down. Another bait is just a regular old crankbait. Medium diving crankbait, because a lot of those, a lot of those fish that you will be fishing for is going to be 8 to 15 foot of water, and that medium depth crankbait, such as a Spro rock crawler, will get you down into that depth, and you'll be catching those bigger fish out there in a little bit deeper water. I throw those crankbaits on 10 or 12 pound test line, fluorocarbon with medium to medium light 7'3" rod, and again a slower reel so I can make sure that I'm going slow enough. But and also the chatterbait. It's time for a chatterbait this time of year, and also a bladed jig, chatterbait, whatever you want to call them. Work them around all kinds of cover, weeds, stumps, grass, standing timber, lay down logs, boat docks, just anything, rock. Work them chatterbaits around there this time of year and they'll nail them. It's also about time for the swim jig to come on. Swim jigs kind of like a chatterbait. It just doesn't have the chatterbait blade hanging off the front of it to here is a swim jig. Did I say swim bait? I meant swim jig. If I said swim bait, I meant swim jig. But here's a True Faith custom bait, swim jig. Like I said, it's swim jig's the same as a be the same design of jig as the chatterbait, except there'll be the chatterbait blade right there through that line eye where you tie onto this. There'll be a chatterbait blade, and you tie onto the chatterbait blade, and that blade's what gives it the back and forth motion. And some has weed guard, some doesn't. These swim jigs, you always have a weed guard because you're throwing it in heavy cover. That blade on that chatterbait kind of, ouch. Sorry, my back's hurting that. It's kind of like a weed guard. It helps keep it weedless. But my favorite thing to do this time of year is spinner baits. The old spinner bait. I use different ones. I use 1/2 ounce. I use 3/4 ounce. Here is a True Faith custom bait, spinner bait. One of my favorite colors for this time of year, especially in dingy water, dirty water, is the coleslaw. The old coleslaw spinner bait. It's got the chartreuse and the orange, the rest of it's white. But I tell you what, I really like this time of year is that orange or red, whichever color you have, kicker blade on there. And this has got a white Colorado with the little orange Colorado. But I've also got this red blade with the white willow leaf, and both of them are killer colors this time of year. I really like that coleslaw color in the dingy stained water, and they like that red color this time of year. I can flat smash them on that a lot of times. I've caught a lot of fish on those in that color. What's the deal? There we go. Spinner bait was giving me problems going back in my box. Here we go. Oh, let's see. Another good color for this time of year is the mouse. The old mouse colored. And you can see I got a big tandem willow leaves on this one. One silver, front one silver, and the back one's gold. That color combination is really good this time of year.
Turning up Burlington 11, 10:15.
Here's a shad pattern one. There's shad pattern one with little
Turning up
willow leaf.
Burlington 11, 10:15.
Both of those are silver willow leaf blades, which is good. Because most time when I'm throwing that shad color, it's clear water, and I throw the silver blades more in the clear water and brighter conditions. The gold blades and the painted blades in dirtier water or cloudy, rainy days. You'll always want some wind. When you're fishing, you'll always want to have some wind.
1050 via bound break Lincoln forward 1050.
For spinner baits, it seems like I just can't get a bite on the spinner bait if it's calm conditions, but I can get out there when it's a little windy. Put some ripple on the water, and you can go to town on them dudes. And I always carry spare blades with me. A package is a spare blade, so I can change blade sizes and colors.
Lincoln 4 County 1089.
I've got silver. I've got gold. Got some white and reds in here for blades. I can, like, here's a silver. I can trade out a gold on the end if I want to. If it's lighter and I want to. Damn. If it's lighter. Another good color this time of year is the old white chartreuse.
Lincoln 6 1050.
But Lincoln 6 10-4. But like I said, that coleslaw this time of year with that red blade on it is just fantastic. It's fantastic, I'm telling you.
310 break Elkins 4 1050.
I just like having that. Seems like I get more bites with that red blade than I do with a silver or gold blade, especially in that stained water.
County to Elkins 4 1050.
Spinner bait this time. The spinner bait's like one of my favorite baits to throw. That and the top water. I don't know which I like best, the top water or the spinner bait, because I love them both. I love fishing both of them and getting the strikes on both of them. But like I said, once that water hits that 50-degree mark, the spinner bait and the buzz bait will definitely be tied on, along with the chatter bait and square bill. But I much prefer the spinner bait and buzz bait for catching big bass this time of year. You just got to slow down. The spinner bait, I'll throw it, the half ounce, I'll throw it from the bank out to maybe 5-6 feet, and that way I can slow roll it out, keep it close to the bottom or down in the water column if the fish is suspended. Then if I get out, a lot of it depends if it's really windy. I can fish that half ounce all the way out to 8 or 10 foot of water. I can slow roll it all the way to 8 or 10, 12 foot of water. But this time of year, that's what you want. You want to be fishing, anywhere from the bank out to 10, 12 foot of water to find those big females laid up. But I either fish the half ounce or 3/4 if it's really windy, where it's hard to keep boat in place and keep control of your bait, keep it down there where it needs to be. Then I'll tie on that 3/4 ounce. But most time I use that half ounce. But I throw the spinner bait on anywhere from 14 to 18 pound test fluorocarbon. As when I'm throwing that spinner bait, I am throwing it around the thick stuff. I've got brush, lay down, standing timber, rocks, stumps, and just all of that. I fish heavy cover with a spinner bait.
14 to county.
And you want a good excuse me, medium to medium heavy rod, 7'3", 7 foot.
Show me 1019 to 507 Rogers Street for a welfare concern.
Really horse them fish out of that heavy cover when they hit. The gear ratio. The gear ratio of the reel. Still I want one real slow.
Lincoln 4 County, signal 9, probably more 45.
And so I'll use a 6-to-1 reel, maybe a 7-to-1.
It's gonna be a Chrysler SUV passenger car, Arkansas.
Anyway,
Adam Henry, Lincoln 59M.
I catch a lot of fish this time of year on those baits, and so next time you go to the lake this spring with the water temperature hitting 50 degrees, or the pond that you fish in, it works in ponds just as well. Try the spinner bait and buzz bait, and just slow reel them. Don't reel them fast. You gotta slow it down and see what you can catch. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave comments below. And again, hit subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell so you'll know when I have more content out there. And please share my channel with your friends so the channel can keep growing. I gotta get off of here, and I will talk to you later, and have a blessed week.